What's up, everyone? Welcome. We are back. Tonight's going to be, I think, a pretty interesting conversation. I was trying to think of, topics that I don't see covered that often when it comes to this franchise. And one of those topics that I don't see covered that often, unless, it's just unless it's like a straight up hater, which I'm not, interested in. But I thought it'd be interesting to get two super fans and people that are extremely, loyal to the franchise and know it inside and out to talk about, some things that we think possibly, in our opinion, doesn't work so well in each film. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're just going to kind of break down and go film by film and just kind of have a discussion about I don't, this doesn't necessarily work for me and here's why, or I really don't like this about this movie. Here's why. So it should be interesting. So, of course, back again is my bestie. Julie is here. Hello.
Got my
How
list.
are you?
Doing
You got
great.
your list. Oh,
got
shoot.
my list.
She's got a list.
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me back.
Yes, of course. I can't wait to kind of dissect this. And, I think I'm wondering if anybody's going to be surprised by any of the issues that we have with some of the films. Yeah.
Some of mine are real nitpicks because I was like, I don't have anything that I hate about this, but
yeah, it wasn't easy. Obviously, as I'm sure we'll find out, some films were easier than others to find things to nitpick about. That there's quite a bit to go over, especially when we get into the later entries, I think. Should be interesting. Will's talking about Scream 4 finally getting a 4K release. Yeah. Also, they're doing a VHS of it, like an actual VHS release of 4.
I saw that.
Really cool. Yeah. And now it makes me wonder if Paramount will jump on board and do VHSs for 5, 6, and 7, which they should. Why not? Because that whole thing's kind of weird, like how Lionsgate has Scream 4, but Paramount has all the other ones.
That is weird. I had heard somebody say, "Oh, that's why Jill wasn't in 7," but we found out that wasn't actually the reason. But yeah, it does seem like there's some weird rights issues going on.
Yeah, as far as I understood it, it was basically came down to the fact that Scream 1, 2, and 3 were all like just straight up Dimension like productions. And then if you remember with Scream 4, yes, it had the Dimension logo, but the main production behind it was the Weinstein Company. So they had gone off and started their own like other division, like their own company, the Weinstein Company. And then when they went under, Lionsgate got all of the Weinstein Company titles. So a fun little fact there is that when Scream 5 was greenlit, in order for them to have Judy in the film, they had to license her character from Lionsgate.
Oh, no way. See, I was wondering how. Yep. Yeah, that's interesting.
Same with Kirby in 6. So basically any character that was exclusively in 4 has to be still to this day would have to be licensed from Lionsgate because they technically own the characters that are unique to 4. Obviously they don't own like Sydney or any of the returning characters, but any character that was created for 4, they have to get the rights to mention them, to show them, to feature them, whatever.
Yeah, that's a cool little fact. I had no idea, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Freaking Weinsteins, right?
I know. They ruined everything. They gave us some great movies, but that's about all that can be said nice about them.
Got it.
Yeah, that is totally it for sure. All right, let's see. Well, let me just bring this up real quick because we're gonna start with the original. We're gonna start with the OG. Yeah, this is the one I had the most trouble with. And you and I talked for a second before we got on, and I think we both kind of fell into the same opinion of there's really nothing that I can find that doesn't work in this movie.
Yeah, my list is blank for this one, but wait, am I going first or you?
Oh no, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I really have nothing, first of all. But then while we were talking backstage, I was like, maybe just like one more scene with the entire friend group. Like, I don't know, like we got the fountain scene, but I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We could have done a little more with their dynamic before kind of splitting people up, but like all I've got.
Yeah, and like I said, I had the same issue. I was trying to think of something, but all I was coming up with stuff like little things here and there, like when he's dragging Casey like through the yard, you can see like the backboard that she's laying on, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. When it's there, you can't. But then it's like, well, that's just like a movie error. You know what I mean? It's not like something with the writing or something with the plot that just doesn't work.
That's a fun one, though. That's more fun than mine. So now I'm going to be looking for the backboard.
Oh, geez. Listen, sometime if you and I were to watch this together, I will point out so many little things.
You're going to ruin it, but I like that. I love stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, I don't know. There's just nothing. And also I find it interesting too, because it's definitely one of the only Scream, if you think about it, it's one of the only ones in the series that didn't have like a bunch of changes and rewrites, and there wasn't like a bunch of, like, if you read the shooting script, it's literally what we got. Like there's no like major moments or scenes. There might be some dialogue here and there that was different, but there wasn't anything like that they filmed that was cut, that was significant.
Yeah, I guess not significant, but didn't they have to cut certain death scenes down for the rating? I feel like I heard
Yeah,
that.
they did cut some of the gore down. Yeah, because it was like NC-17, which you can see that cut of the movie. It was actually accidentally released on VHS.
Oh.
When the movie, because back then, lesson time, kids. Back then there was a thing called like video rental stores, so it wasn't like the movie came out in theaters and then you could immediately get it on digital or buy it. It was the theaters had their little window of like 6 months where they had the movie. Then the rental stores had it where it was like, if you wanted to see it now, you got to get it from rental store for 6 months. Then, unless it was like a Disney movie or a kids movie, but then after 6 months, they would offer these movies for sale. Well, when the VHS came out for sale, the first run, they accidentally used the uncut print. So if you have like the original VHS that was for purchase in 1997, you have the unrated cut, so you see everything.
That's so cool. Mm-hmm. That's probably worth some money.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely different. But yeah, just little things like that, like the gore was cut, but there were no major scenes or anything. And I, of course, I'm just talking about like the shooting script is what they shot, and it's literally what we got. And it's kind of hard to say that about, I think, any other entry into this franchise. I mean, even the later ones, like with Scream 6, there was an entire script that had Sydney in it, and they were ready to go, and that didn't happen. So they had to write her out and change a bunch of stuff. So I do find it interesting that the movies that have a lot of the issues are the ones that seem to have been rewritten and reworked, to death to a certain extent. And the original movie where they just kind of said, hey, we love this script, go make it, look how it turned out.
Yeah, we hate to be those guys, but it's a perfect movie. Okay.
It is. It really is. I mean, forget about all the sequels. Like, if the original movie sucked, I mean, number one, there really wouldn't be this many sequels, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
But also, we wouldn't be here talking about these movies still.
Nope.
Even people that don't like the sequels, for the most part, seem to be like, oh, but the original is like perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I guess we're on the same page that there's really nothing that doesn't. Well, okay, let's see. Davey Deathray says, how about Ghostface in the bushes or the convenience store? Looking back, those are just some very odd moments that don't quite make sense. They are. I admit they are
quirky.
Very, very. Especially for some reason, I don't know. The bushes doesn't bother me that bad. Because it's like, you know what, you could hide in bushes by my house and I'd never see you. But the grocery store, a costume like that, I try to explain it away in my head as like, oh, the whole town knows about it, and there's kids running around the school wearing the costume as a joke, But yeah, just the idea of somebody in a Ghostface costume, the literal costume that the killer is wearing in this town, that they're shutting the town down due to this. He just walks into the grocery store and is just following them around. Not one person is like, dude, what are you doing in here?
Dude, and it makes it even funnier when you think about like in 3 when they retcon and they're like, oh yeah, Roman was, always there. And then some people have said, well, that was him in the grocery store.
No. See, I don't play that game. And we'll get to that when we get to 3, but I don't play that game at all. I have
just
my
makes it
opinions
funnier.
on that. It does make it funnier, yeah. In my opinion, in my world, Roman is not in any movie except for the 3rd film.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically he's not in 7 either because it's AI. So
that's my headcanon. I'm like trying to mentally erase that one scene. I just can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's even funnier with the first film, like, after being there in person when we did the Scream Comes Home event at Stu's house, but we also went around and visited all the other filming locations. When we actually went to that grocery store and we're standing in it, I was like, this is the smallest, and I'm from a small town in Pennsylvania. Like, there's very tiny grocery stores out here on the East Coast, especially little independent ones like this one. That is the tiniest grocery store I've ever been in. And there's literally no possible way that someone could walk in there dressed like that without somebody being like, what the hell are you doing? Like, it is so small. It's the smallest store. It's small enough that it makes you go, how did they even fit like the camera equipment and stuff in here?
Oh my gosh.
It's tiny.
Oh, that's so cool though. That's a fun fact. But
yeah,
there we go. Davey was right.
And it's actually in real life,
there.
it's right by Tatum's house.
Oh, no way.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, you can walk to it from Tatum's house. Was that whatever someone NP Reaper? I agree. Roman's only in 3. It wouldn't make sense for him to be there. Exactly.
I agree. It's just a funny, little thing that some people have in their head canon.
Listen, ever since Scream 3 came out, that's been a thing
online.
Is people that are like, oh, it makes sense now. There was a 3rd killer the whole time in the first one, and it was Roman. It's like, no. And again, we'll get to that when we get to 3. I'm going to explain why that is not the case. But it is funny. It is funny to picture like Scott Foley standing in the grocery store dressed as Ghostface. It's just doesn't really make much sense. Plus he'd have no reason. I don't know. We'll get to that.
We'll get
All
to
right.
that.
Let's move along since hey, we're in agreement. There's really no issues, no major issues with the first film. Let's move on to 2. Okay. Do you have anything to say that doesn't work for you, Julie, in 2?
Yeah, I've got like 3 things. One of them
Okay.
is kind of like a whoa, like chill out. This might be too big of a scope thing right here, but I and it's hard to say because it was fine in this movie, but this movie creates the Stab franchise, right? And
Yep.
it is used well here. It is taken way too far and goes on too much in further sequels. And that is not the fault of this movie, but
Right.
I attribute it to this movie because they introduced the concept. So that's like my biggest one.
Yes. And just a little side note that I want to add to that. I agree with you, number 1. And number 2, literally just the other day, I was talking with Nick Meese about, Scream. If you don't know, Nick runs the Scream Trilogy website and probably has the oldest existing Scream fan pages. Like he had a page up when Scream 2 came out online. He was literally the first one. So but we were talking about something and I asked him because he's always looking for ideas for like an article to do for the site. And I was like, it'd be interesting to kind of do an article on like do like a what if segment, like article series. And I said, you know what the first one should be? What if Scream 2 what if they never did the whole like stab movie within a movie thing? Like, what would the franchise be right now? Because, like you said, when you break it down and you go like movie by movie by movie, they are so heavily dependent on that aspect that was just kind of mentioned. In my opinion, it was just kind of like a fun thing that they did in the second, movie. Like you look at the motives didn't have anything to do with the Stab franchise whatsoever. So it's not like, Kevin introduced this movie within a movie idea as a way to like have a motive that made sense in the second movie. In my opinion, he literally was just like, it'd be fun for an opening scene. What if they made a movie about what happened, which they would? What would it be called? Stab. Yeah. And what if someone got killed at that like love it, totally love it. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to say, what if they never did that? What would the franchise be right now without Stab?
Yeah, and I mean, like, it totally made sense, and it was a cool idea, and it was natural, but yeah, now it's like a crutch, and it's like, the past, like, 2 movies, I've been like, can we just not although 7 oh, I was about to say in 7, it wasn't even mentioned, was it? But no, we had the Airbnb, but
Yeah.
that was fine. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so Stab, like basically your issue with it, what you're saying, if I understand correctly, is like you love what they did with it in Scream 2 in this movie, but you don't love the we'll say the monster that it created as the franchise went forward, where it seemed like they can't get away from it.
Yeah, so this is kind of an unfair criticism, I think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, damn, that's kind of unfair. But anyway,
But
I'll
it
leave
makes sense.
it.
No, it makes sense. I roll with it. What
My
else do you got?
next one was about Randy. Like, I'm
Okay.
fine with him dying. I didn't like the scene where he dies. It's like you got the people with the boom box walking by the van as the van's rocking. It's just like, I don't know. I wish they had kept him until 3. I think that was a big
Yeah.
misstep. And even they regretted that. So
Yeah, I mean, Kevin has said, Kevin said a lot of different things. Like us, he changes his mind all the time, but he has always said he doesn't necessarily regret killing the character. He just says, I regret doing it when we did, because if I had known that the series was going to go on this long, I never would have, done it that early, that soon.
Right. Like, I think it would have been cool to see him in 4. Like, he kind of would have been like a kind of like a Richie Tozier and It Too kind of vibe,
Yep.
I could see him being like a unsuccessful comedian or something like that. I think that could have been really cool.
Boombox
that's
blasting
right.
from Cottonmouth Kings. Yep, I forgot that's who the song was. Yeah, and I gotta tell you, I do love the scene. I love that it takes place during the day. I mean, that was a I remember it opening night in theaters that everybody was like, "What just happened? They can't do that. They can't kill Randy." And all in the daytime, like it was shocking. But yes, on subsequent viewings, and again, for the younger people that are watching, let me just clarify. No, in 1997, bro squads were not walking around with boom boxes, dancing and to music. It just wasn't a thing then. It definitely is out of place.
Okay, that's good to know. It's such a funny, like, he's getting rocked in the van. Van's rocking, like, those guys just walking. It's crazy. But
yeah, it almost seems like it was a way of like, hey guys, we have this band and this song that you have to fit into the movie somehow. How are you gonna do it? And they were just like, oh, let's get some guys with a boombox walk by blasting the song that we are under contract to appear in the movies somehow.
Yeah, that's crazy. My third one is so nitpicky because I really didn't have anything else for this movie, but
okay.
And this is I feel like this is a lot of people's, but when Sydney is climbing over Mickey in the car,
yes,
and she's like climbing over his lap, take off the mask. I like that scene a lot, but it's just like,
I mean,
it's frustrating.
In fairness, she tries. She does try. She reaches slowly, but yes, I understand. In subsequent viewings, it doesn't come across so much as a moment of tension as it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Just grab it and take it off. Like, don't be like this. Like reaching so slow.
Just snatch
just grab it and take it off.
Give him an elbow in the face real quick. Anything, But
and there's other moments in the series that I can make that same complaint of like, just pull his freaking mask off. Like, what are you doing?
I know.
At least to see who it is. But no, I agree with that one 100%. Do you have anything else for 2?
That's it, man.
Okay.
Pretty big fan. Mm-hmm.
Me too. I think it's almost a perfect. I think it's a perfect sequel and almost a completely perfect movie like the first one. My list for 2, the biggest thing I had on there that wasn't, what you had on your list was, and I do want to preface that it doesn't bother me as much now that it used to, but it's kind of going to go towards, probably we're going to bring this up again when we get to part 7, I feel like. But I feel like compared to the first Scream, the killer reveals were not as initially shocking, at least on the first viewing, because I feel like everybody was like, who the fuck is that? Wait, who's this now? Wait, that's what is going on? Like, I don't even remember these people in the movie.
Literally me. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I remember doing that in the theater on opening night. I remember when Mickey took his mask off, I was like, who the fuck is that? Who is that guy? I had no idea. And then she even said his name, like Mickey. And I was like, who the fuck is Mickey? Yeah. And it's not that Mickey's not prevalent in the movie. It's just that he's only in the first 45 minutes and then he vanishes. Mm-hmm. And I have seen Kevin has commented on it. I know the editor, Patrick Lucier, commented on it because people were like, was there like a moment or a scene somewhere in there that got cut, where he kind of pops up? And they were like, no. They said, we always, according to them, they always wanted that for Mickey because they felt like they wanted people to forget about him. They wanted us to be like, wait, who the hell is that? Like, I have no idea who that is. And then in hindsight, you would remember him and then say, oh, but it makes sense that he disappeared because he was busy. He wasn't popping up like left and right. But I guess my nitpick is more about like the initial viewing. If you've never seen Scream 2 before, you're probably going to go, who is that? And then when the second killer walks into frame, you're probably going to go, who is that?
Who is that? Even more so than my first, who is that?
Yeah. And then they're going to go, wait, that's Billy's mom. What is going on right now? I don't understand. Why did nobody recognize? And I know they explain it. But that was my issue. And again, it was more, especially comparing it to the first film, like all of these characters were so fresh in our minds and they're literally like popping up left and right throughout the entire finale leading up to the reveal, to where your brain's just kind of going like, is it Billy? Is it Stu? Is it Randy? Is it Gail? Is it all these people? And then in Scream 2, you're just kind of like, is it this person, or that person? And then it turns out to be two people that you're like, wait, who the fuck are they? Like, I don't even remember. Oh, yeah, I remember them now.
Yeah. I always thought that was a me problem because that happened to me also in 3 and 7. That's it.
No. Oh, I'm glad you said that. Because we're gonna visit that next.
Yeah, I was gonna say when we get to 3, but I was like, I had the same reaction as Sydney, like, who?
I already know what you're gonna say, and if you don't say a certain thing about it, I'm gonna add that to your complaint, because I've got the same complaint you do, I think. Okay, so anything else with 2?
Nope.
Right?
Some people had some stuff in the chat, but
yeah, the first 2, I think we can agree, was just little nitpicky. Let's see. I might have missed it, but did you guys discuss Mickey giving himself away in the hospital? No.
We didn't, but it was pretty weird in that scene.
Yeah. The way he looks and is like, why would anyone go back into that house? He needs to realize the 90s, no time to play hero. You can kind of see in his face that he's like, that motherfucker came after me. Like, how dare he? I didn't plan for that.
It's not as bad though as like, you mess with my family, you die. That's probably
right.
That's probably a bit worse.
Right. Do you think Mickey killed Cece because she didn't agree with the blaming crimes on movies? I hear a lot of people say Mrs. Loomis just let him kill her as a reward. I mean, listen. Well, I definitely think that whatever little deal that Mrs. Loomis had with Mickey was just kind of like, listen, this is your main goal. You must kill these people, but aside from that, do whatever you want. Like, I don't care. As long as you do this, and this, you do whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he had his own kind of agenda, right? So he probably negotiated a couple things, Yeah,
I mean, this was a dream for him. He was apparently a serial killer for hire on a website.
She found on, what did she say, like a web forum?
Reddit from 1998. Classifieds. Apparently in 1997 there was classifieds for serial killers and psychos. That's interesting. I find it more believable that there's things like that now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Somewhere on the dark web, I'm sure there's insane things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was his dream. I mean, he was like, "Oh wait, you're gonna pay me to do this, and not only that, like you're okay with me getting caught on purpose, and not mentioning you at all. Like it was all me, and I'm gonna get all this attention, and they'll find me not guilty." Very stupid, but very interesting. And actually, kind of makes more sense today. Like I think if something like that happened and that was their excuse, like I was, the movies made me do it and all this stuff, there probably would be people that were like, free Mickey, like let's.
Yeah. Yep. Sadly.
Some of the stuff is ahead of its time.
Oh yeah.
He says, how would Mickey know Derek went back in the house? It's a dead giveaway. Well, yes, it is. But I will say that, I mean, Mickey's at the hospital with Derek, who's his friend. So you could also say that Derek probably was just like, Mickey's like, hey, what happened to you? And Derek's like, I went back into the house and I got stabbed. Like, that's possible. Okay. Moving right along. I feel like there might be a few more for this one than the last two.
Yeah, I only wrote one down, but I don't know. I tried to go a little bit easier on this movie because the stuff we all know, the background. But
yeah.
But that being said, like the kills are lame. The comedy is a little too strong in some parts.
Very strong.
There's some silly stuff like the fax machine and the gasoline and the exploding house. But like,
yes.
I don't know. As I get older, I try to like give this movie a little more grace, and I'm like, well, it's fun, right? It's fun.
It is very fun, and I do love it. I love the third movie.
Yeah,
but it's got problems, man. It's got problems.
Yeah. Shout out to like not so subtly outing the Weinsteins. That was awesome.
Right.
But I think my biggest issue is just the retcon. I hate. I don't know. Well, hate's strong, but I really do not care for the retcon at the end where, Roman's like, I was there. I showed Billy the footage. And it's just like, you didn't need to do that.
Right.
And
and also it was kind of, because that, and I can tell you back then at that time, there had been long standing rumors on like the very archaic message boards as they were back in the late 90s, which was the only way to communicate with other fans online. But there was already a great deal of rumors that in theories that there was a third killer that was not revealed in the first film. That was the going kind of conspiracy theory amongst fans back then, that like that's what's going to be revealed in the third movie, is that there was actually 3 killers. It wasn't just Billy and Stu. And it almost felt like, and again we'll get into this with 7, but it almost felt like they gave us that without giving us that. It's like they gave us the whole, well, we're going to tell you something about the first film that you didn't know. But they didn't go all the way with it. They didn't have like a character that was like, I was there, I'm the one that killed Tatum, or I'm the, like, whatever it could have been. And I'm not necessarily saying that would have been the right way to go either. But it just kind of felt like that's the best you could come up with, like, really. Now I absolutely agree with this one. And I do want to say, while we're talking about it, before we get to what we discussed earlier, that we were going to come back to the who the fuck is that of it. I've excuse me, I've never got tired of saying this, but to the people that are like, oh, that was Roman in the first movie, that was Roman in the bushes, that was Roman here, or Roman's the mastermind. Like, it wasn't Billy and Stu. They're not masterminds. They didn't start this whole thing. Roman started all of it. I say bullshit, in my opinion. And here's why. Because Roman even says himself in Scream 3 when Sidney says, this is all because of you. He says, I'm a director, Sid, I direct. And then he puts his hands up like, but don't come at me for this. And he says, I had no idea they were going to make a film of their own. This is after he explains that, yes, he convinced Billy to kill her mother. That was it. Then he says, hey, but I had no idea they were going to, he essentially says, I didn't know they were going to go and do all this stuff afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that that was going to, so I think what bothers me is that there's a lot of people that make it seem like Roman and Billy and Stu were like teamed up during the first movie, or that Roman was like pulling the strings while, Billy and Stu were doing, the murders that we know of as the Woodsboro murders in the first movie. But again, Roman says himself, hey, all I did was convince Billy to kill your mom. I had no idea they were going to go off and do what they did and create all of this. He's not disappointed about it. But he admits it. He says it himself. I didn't know they were going to do this. So in my opinion, Billy and Stu are the masterminds of the Woodsboro murders. They're the ones that came up with the idea of getting a costume and, all this stuff. You don't hear Sidney saying, oh, I saw someone in a ghost. That mask, that's the same mask, the killer that killed my mom. No, she says she saw someone leave her house wearing, the coat, and she thought it was Cotton. And, there's a reason in the first movie that Cotton and Billy have the same freaking haircut. I don't know if anybody here ever noticed that, but their haircut is exactly the same. Billy's hair, that news footage of Cotton being carried away in cuffs, his hair is exactly cut like
shoot. I didn't really notice that.
Yep. So I don't see Roman as a mastermind. And that is kind of how I am more accepting of the ending of 3, is that I don't think it retcons too much, other than the fact of like Billy just happened to not mention to Sidney, like this freaking guy, this weird guy showed up and showed me this.
Showed me his videotapes. I don't know what the heck.
Yeah.
No, that makes it better. That actually, I'm glad you said that. That makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about the unmasking though.
Yeah.
So you had a moment of that, I'm assuming, of who is that?
I did, and I think it's because I hate to say it's because he didn't have his glasses on.
Yes!
But
oh my gosh, that's what I was gonna say. When I said earlier, if you don't say it, I'm gonna say it, but it's because of the glasses.
That's on me, but he looked a little different. And then also, another issue I have is just, and everybody mentions this, right? But the checking of the pulse of it all is just,
yes.
And I know, like,
well,
our good friend Steven had mentioned, like, hey, Wes Craven had like, he actually like did his research and like he had a reason for doing the pulse checking, and it is viable or possible, but but to like the average viewer, like, some dumb person like me, like, I don't know that. But so it just seems kind of like, whoa, like maybe just like she didn't need to check his pulse,
Right. Well, in between you and I personally think that they were probably just kind of hoping that you would forget about that.
Oh, you think so?
By the time of the reveal, like, they were probably hoping that nobody was like, wait a second, check this pulse. Wait a minute.
To be honest, I can't remember if I thought that the first time, but definitely on repeat viewings, I was like,
oh yeah, I definitely forgot about it the first time. And then I've seen everything online of like, oh, there's medication you can take to lower your pulse rate, and Roman probably, he was smart enough to have it, and I'm like, that's a stretch, but whatever. And I've seen people like, who knows how to take a pulse anyways? You think Gail Weathers knows how to feel for a pulse? I'm like, I could see that, but
true.
Yeah,
she could have messed it up, but
yeah, it's just one
either
of those
way,
things.
it's like, it's a goofy movie, so it kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
As it kind of fits in, right? Being
yeah,
pretty lenient there.
And that would be my probably biggest gripe about the movie. And again, it's not a surprise, I don't think, to anybody, but it really just feels like they, Scream 1 and 2, conveniently written by Kevin Williamson, found this perfect mix of horror and comedy. I usually say like 75% horror, 25% comedy, but it all works. And it felt like Scream 3 was the opposite. It was like 75% comedy, 25% horror, and it didn't mix well, especially when compared to the other the first two movies. And yeah, like you said, the kills were just kind of like, if they made if Scream 3, if this franchise started like in modern time, not back in the 90s, and 3 was really, because that's how they advertised it, this is the last one, it's a trilogy, it's the big finale, the final act. I think we all know that they probably would have made sure, like, oh, this is going to be the goriest one of all. Like, we've got to go hardcore. There's never going to be another one. It's the last one. We got to go out with a bang. I understand the reasons that they toned it down. I totally get it. But it just kind of it kind of feels like the PG-13 Scream movie out of the series.
It does, and not only is it toned down, but they they go out of their way with some scenes. Like, I just like, oh my god, the scene when Dewey's at the top of the stairs and he gets the butt of the knife, hits him in the forehead, and he's like, ooh, and he falls down the stairs, and it's like, this was a very conscious choice. Like, this,
yeah, very
so funny. Oh my god.
And especially when you're using for a moment like that, you're choosing the character of Dewey, who is portrayed by the actor David Arquette, to do it. He's going to deliver it as silly as possible, for sure.
So funny.
Yeah. Again, I love the movie, but yeah, I'm in agreement 100% of everything that you said your issues were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, that's like one of those movie mistakes, saying Roman's phone has gaffer's tape on it. Yes. When you see the close up, when at the end after the reveal, when Roman's like trying to figure out where Sydney is, so he's like, oh, I'll just call her phone and it'll ring and I'll know where she's at. And it shows that close up of him going to speed dial and pressing it. You can see like a giant chunk of black gaffer's tape like stuck to the phone to cover up the brand. It's very obvious, like, once you know it's there.
That's so funny, dude.
Yeah. And again, that's just one of those little movie mistakes. They're probably thinking, listen, when they make these movies, they're not making them with people that watch them 100 times in mind. For the most part, they're like, the average audience that goes to see this, they're going to see it, they're going to go out their little movie night, and they're going to leave and be like, that was fun, and they're going to forget about it. They're not going to go back and rewatch it 100 times and notice that there's gaffer's tape on the phone, or that you can see the backboard that Drew Barrymore's laying on when he's dragging her,
Yeah.
But we notice that stuff.
We're the weirdos, though. They don't expect people to go frame by frame in the trailers either. Yet,
oh my god, that drives me nuts. That's a whole other thing. Woo. Yep.
Can you imagine the stress, by the way, like knowing people do that? Like, once you become aware and you'd be like, oh god, we left this in. Oh no. Or you just gotta say it.
Especially with Scream 5.
Yeah.
When people were doing that, I was like, guys, stop. What are you doing? Like, why are you trying to spoil it for yourself? Number one. And they're like, well, why would they put it in there? And it's like, because you're not supposed to watch it freaking frame by frame. It's a trailer. You're just supposed to watch it and go, that looks cool. I can't wait. I'm excited. You're not supposed to freeze it on this half a second shot of somebody's hand with a knife and then analyze whose hand that is and be like, oh, I think the killer is this person. Like, that's not what you're supposed to do.
I'm guilty of that now. I did that for 7.
Oh,
But yeah,
listen.
especially for 5, because
all
yeah,
do
you
it.
see Richie's hair, you see
Yeah.
Amber. It's like
We all do it.
yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, as much as they tried to darken that moment for the trailer, it was very obvious looking back that like, oh, that's Amber that's on fire for a split second. Like you can tell. Now again, of course, she could have been a victim, but it was just kind of like, why is she on fire in Stu's kitchen? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's anything else for 3?
Nope, I think I'm good.
All right. Are they going to get more as we go on? We will soon find out. Here we go. Scream 4. What do you got?
This is still one of my favorite sequels, like second or third, honestly. But I don't know. I really don't have too many issues with this one, but like the super nitpicky obvious one is the filter. And then for the 4K, I was like, oh, please tell me they're removing it, but they're not. That's just, some of the outdoor scenes look so blown out. Like that beginning at the bookshop, the book signing, and they go out and they look in Sydney's trunk, and it's just like, whoo, like so blown out behind Dewey, and it's just, it's distracting. It is. I hate to beat a dead horse, but like it's very distracting.
No, and I agree, because I've always been someone that said, listen, if Wes didn't want that look, he wouldn't have shot it that way or had it shot that way. So like leave it be. However, I can also say like there are some shots because of that style that, like you said, they just don't work. They're completely blown out, washed out. They look absolutely terrible. And furthermore, even if that is the look Wes wanted for some reason, like I'm assuming he did. I don't know. I didn't ask him, I don't know. But it doesn't match the look of any other film in the series. And you can literally go, even though the later ones obviously weren't directed by Wes, 5, 6, and 7 look a lot more like 1, 2, and 3 than 4 does. They feel, as far as visuals go, they feel more like a Scream film than 4 does. And I agree, it's because of that filter, and it's kind of one of those things. It's like, you know what? Even if you think Wes wanted it, great, but give us a release that's like, do you want to watch it with or without? Like, which version do you want to watch today?
Now, it's probably a lot of work to remove the filter at this point. I don't know what they would have to do. But that being said, I have seen some people edit it like just on YouTube.
Yeah, like clips.
They're able to fix it up a lot. Yeah, not fully remove it, but it looks better.
Right.
So anyway, I'll leave it at that. But it is a bummer because and I know like even when I've shown like that movie to some people for the first time, they're like, oh, whoa, looks really different. And it's like it's jarring. It is.
It's very jarring. Also, like the opening scene doesn't really match and I know that was reshot, which is a problem.
Yeah.
That's on my list. I do not like the reshot opening, especially seeing the original opening we had. I think that was a 100% case of like, why did you listen to the test audience? Like very clearly that opening, the original opening, was better than what we got. I think it's, was really, and I'm not saying the original opening was perfect. Obviously, we've never seen it completely like edited into the movie properly with, like the same score and stuff. Like people have done it on YouTube to try to make it like, oh, this is what it could have been.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I've only seen it without music, where it's a little
Yeah.
awkward, obviously.
Yeah, there's a couple videos now that people added music to. And you can tell that it's just kind of like someone was like, this is kind of close to what it would have been.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it would have been perfect. I think it is the biggest flaw overall in both of them is I think everything happens too quickly. I think it's very like they're, we get all these scenes of these different stab openings, like we get all the fake outs, which
Mhm.
are great. You have a lot of fun with it, like the first, second, third time you watch it, but then after that, it's like, okay, like just
Yep.
get to the movie. But I feel like they spent so much time on those that when we get to the actual opening scene and the opening characters, they are it just happens so fast. It's like there's the phone call, there's Ghostface, next thing you know, they're both dead, and it's like title card. And it was like that for the original opening, which, like I said, I think it worked much better. But I think the opening we got was so much worse. You could tell it was shot in a hurry. I know it was shot in a hurry. And it's weird that one of them they decided to go with like, oh, we'll just kill one of them off screen, like we'll just have her like come flying through a window and she's already dead. Like it was just kind of a weird choice how they chose to do it. It just kind of felt rushed. And then there's the whole fact of like the layout of the house doesn't really work with the reshot opening because of where the location of this garage or whatever that's like under construction. It's
Oh.
just very weird. It's very weird opening, and it feels like it doesn't fit the rest of the movie, in my opinion. But
Yeah, it was
again,
very. Oh,
I think it's
go ahead.
because it was reshot.
Well, I was gonna say, so one of mine is partially yours. Like I said, like the opening isn't super enjoyable on rewatch. Like you said, and I agree. I do definitely need to see the opening, the original one with music or something, because it was a little
Yeah,
funny, without the music.
I'll send you the best link of
Okay.
that after this to watch.
The other thing is like the opening is not super connected to the rest of the movie. Like I know we get a line about is it Marnie is the girl that Trevor's cheating on Jill with.
Right.
We get that, but it's very like it just doesn't have a huge, it's like a fleeting line, but it's like other than that,
Mhm.
it's like, okay, we never hear about these girls again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, and I agree, and I think that goes even further to say, like, in my opinion, most of the stuff that was cut from 4 should have been in the movie. You
That was
know?
my third thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
No
like,
deleted scenes.
yeah, you look at
Oh,
like some of the stuff that was cut, and it's like, the police at the crime scene the next morning, and one of them's tied to the chair like Steve, and one of them's hanging in the living room
yeah.
like Casey was hanging. As what's your favorite scary movie? Painted on like that kind of stuff is crazy. The showing Olivia on the bed with her guts out, and she literally has a doggy door frame from a garage door around her head. Like
Mm,
supposed to be like this is supposed to be like Tatum, and
hmm
recreating the murders. It's like they got rid of all that, but they still left stuff in. So it felt very incomplete, when they're like at the end when Charlie's like, oh, we're filming the murders, look, and he's showing like the video, and it's like I get what you're doing, but having seen the deleted scenes, that would have worked much better. Like showing that, like showing the aftermath, all that stuff that was cut, I felt like should not have been cut. The fountain scene, like them out at the fountain. I mean, they went through all that trouble in Michigan to find a fountain that was similar enough to the original and have them all sit on it. And, like, and they cut that whole scene out. And
oh my god.
also they're talking about part 4s in that scene, they're talking about like final chapter, Halloween 4. This is what happens in this. This is what happens in this part 4. Why cut that out?
I don't know. Bad idea. Ugh,
Yeah, we needed a director's cut.
yeah. Mm-hmm. But
What else do you have on your list? Anything?
No, that's it. That's pretty much it. Yeah. I like this one a lot. Like, and the things I picked on were pretty nitpicky. Yeah.
Right. And we should clarify, everybody, since we didn't do it. I'm realizing now we didn't clarify this at the beginning. If you're just tuning in, we are not on here to say like we dislike these movies or we are literally racking our brains in for the most part to be like, is there anything that we don't really like in some of these movies? So that's what we're doing. We're not doing a shit on the Scream franchise. Again, some of these were very difficult. On my list for 4, I had the same things that you had. I also had in general the tone. I felt and still do feel that we didn't necessarily get what we were originally promised, and that was basically, they were like, listen, we know, Scream 3 was kind of like goofy, and we're going back to scary, and this Scream 4 is going to be the closest one to the first one and second one in tone wise. And I really feel like it's closer to 3 tone wise.
Really?
I think
okay.
A lot more kind of comical and goofy. It just kind of feels a little bit more lighthearted than 1 and 2 still.
What? Wait, that's so interesting. I don't feel that
Yeah.
way. I guess
That's
it's
how
like,
I've always felt about 4.
wow. Well, for me, it's like the stuff that really stands out for me is like, I want to say like oh my gosh, like some of the line delivery and the lines they gave to Roger Jackson this time are just so mean. Where he
Oh, for
says this, and
sure.
like, I'm gonna cut your eyelids off so you can't blink when I stab you in the face. Like,
Yeah.
that's the stuff that stands out to me. And like, you would never hear something like that in 3. I guess
That's
so. I guess
true.
that's where. But I'm trying to think. Like, what parts like remind you of 3? Like in terms of tone.
I think there's some very goofy, like the moments where, like, for example, whenever Gail is kind of having her little confrontation with Rebecca.
Oh.
And then she like walks away and is like, "Whoo, testy, ooh," and the music's all goofy. That felt so much like a scene from 3 to me.
That's actually a good point. I think that whole character of Rebecca is like a Scream 3 character.
Yes,
Yeah, I would agree.
The biggest one for me is Anthony Anderson's death.
Oh, Bruce Willis.
Yeah, fuck Bruce Willis.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And listen, I've told this story before, so this is not new to some people that are watching, but if you haven't heard it, I will tell you. So, as you know, I helped on Scream 4, creative consultant, worked with the prop department. My friend Skip and JP, who were the main prop masters of Scream 1 through 4, I was basically talking with them on a daily basis when they were making the 4th movie. And they withheld some, like, they're like, do you want to know that? I'm like, I don't want to know this. I don't want to know that. So I didn't really have it spoiled, but I knew some of the people were going to die. They sent me some pictures that they probably shouldn't have, but it doesn't matter now. But after I saw the film, I remember texting Skip and I said, we need to have a talk. I have one question that I need to hear what you say about this, because you were there. And I know you were there because you sent me a freaking picture of the dude with a freaking knife in his head before the movie came out. And I said, what was the deal with Anthony Anderson's death? Like, why was it? I said, it was so comedic and weird and awkward and goofy. It didn't match anything else in the movie. It took me out of the movie completely. I was like, are we watching Scary Movie like 5 right now? Like, what is going on? It bothered me so much. And he basically said, let me just explain it to you. He said, so Wes had read this article that this is the backstory, and then I'll tell you what happened on set. Wes had read this article about a guy who was stabbed in the head with a butcher knife by his girlfriend, fiance, who knows. And it did not only did it not kill him, but he actually drove himself to the hospital with it in his head, like all the way in his head, and walked into the emergency room with it. And they took a x-ray, obviously, because they're like, well, we can't just pull it out, like it'll probably kill him. We have to figure out what to do. Like, he did survive, I guess. But this article that Wes was reading showed the x-ray, and it was literally like a knife like that far into his skull.
God.
And he survived. So Wes was like, oh, I want to do this. Like, we got to have someone get stabbed in the head and they don't die right away. So that was where that started. So that was what Wes was trying to do. But Wes, as I understand it, as explained to me from Skip, Wes was kind of horrified by this article. Like, he didn't read it as like, oh my God, that's great. That's so funny. Like, can you imagine walking around? Like, he was like, can you imagine how fucking terrifying that would be? Like, for that guy to be like, dude, there's a 12-inch blade in my head. Like, why am I not dead? What is going on? Should I go to the hospital? Like, Wes thought it was mortifying. So he was very much like, you know, let's do this, but let's make it scary. Like, let's make it uncomfortable and unnerving and seem unnatural. So that's the backstory. So on set, as far as I was told, is that Anthony Anderson, being Anthony Anderson, he just decided, like, this is freaking hilarious. Like, I'm still alive after I got stabbed in the head. So he did like the first take and was extremely over the top, goofy, silly about it, like swinging, where are you? Can't see you, you bastard, whatever, you know. And everybody on set's laughing. And then Wes was like, all right, let's do another take. Be a little bit more serious this time. And he said he just kept doing it like funny. He's like, take after take after take. And he said, finally, after about 8 takes of this, he was like, Wes went over and talked to him. And he's like, you know, Wes is very reserved. He's never mean. He never yells. And he didn't. He just went over and said, I love everything. You are, you know, this is great. But he's like, give me one, play it straight. And Skip was like, I remember Wes saying that. He's like, play it straight one time for me, please. Like, play it completely straight. Like, you are dying and it's terrifying. Why aren't you dead yet? Like, play it straight for me. So Skip said after that, it was like take number 9. He did it. He played it completely straight, collapsed, didn't say the F Bruce Willis line. You know, it was like perfect. And Skip was like, everybody was like, that was great. That was great. Like, that was freaky. Like, that he was still alive. That was amazing. And boy, those other 8 takes, those are going to make amazing bloopers on the, you know, Blu-ray. Like, that's going to be great. And then Skip said, all I can say is there was one take that was done perfectly and played it straight, which is what Wes wanted that day. And for whatever reason, he ended up using one of the silly takes when the movie came out. And he's like, I don't know. Like, I didn't like call him and go, why would you use that? You know? But he's like, I don't know. Was it his decision? Was it the Weinsteins? Was it the editor? He's like, I don't know. I can't. There'll never be an answer for that. But he said there is a take out there where he played it straight, and he said it was terrifying.
That's an awesome story, by the way. But my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. I want to see the serious take.
I know. And of course, on the Blu-ray, there are outtakes of that scene. And it's just more of him being silly and making people laugh. We don't see the serious take. It's out there somewhere.
That's so funny. Well, funny, but not funny. Oh, man. Right. It's a great story, though. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. That's probably the most in-depth I've told it before. Usually I'm just like, yeah, apparently, you know, they told him to do it straight once and he did, but they didn't use it. Like,
oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine it was an accident that they didn't use that take.
Right.
And the editor made a mistake.
I mean, it's hard to tell. You know, it could have been Wes. He could have been watching it in the editing room and being like, you know what? Go with one of the funny ones because that's pretty. He was pretty funny. You know, it's
It
hard to
could
tell.
be. Yeah, it could be after seeing the serious one. He was like, you know what? The other one's a bit more fun, right?
Yeah,
More charming. We'll
yeah.
never know.
We'll never know. Hopefully, we'll see it though someday.
I hope so. Who won the 4K? Maybe. Maybe.
That would be awesome. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. I don't know if there's anything new on it or not. I haven't looked into that
No.
yet. I mean, I'm going to get it regardless because I want to see how good it looks or doesn't look. I don't know if the washed out, filter is going to look worse.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder if they did anything in terms of
That's what I'm hoping.
trying to tone it down.
Did they at least do something to be like, we can't make it go away, but we can like darken some of those. Like, there's just some stuff
super
like,
blown out. Yeah.
Ooh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said something about okay, yeah. Aaron said it can't be removed. It was a neutral density filter on the camera lens.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, upsetting.
It can probably be removed via like AI, which I'm not.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's what they should do. I'm just saying.
No, but hey, you know what? Someone might do that and then upload it on YouTube. And
yeah.
To that I say, why not?
Yeah. Bro, I need the take of it being played serious. Yeah. I know.
It's funny because when you were saying Scream 4 is funny, I was like, what is he? I could not. I totally forgot about this scene.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just some silly stuff in that movie. Yeah. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Anything else for 4?
That's it.
That's it. I think we're getting to the nitty-gritty now.
We're getting to the fun stuff now.
Moving on to Scream. We're back at Scream, aka Scream 5. I will forever call this movie Scream 5.
Oh yeah.
I don't listen. I get why they called it Scream. It's fine, but to me, it's Scream 5. So
it just is. And do you remember, like a fun little aside here? But do you remember for Scream 6 when that photo came out of, I don't know if it was like the director's chair or what, but it had Scream ! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! And we were all like, no! Oh god, no!
Scream 2? What? No!
It's 6, and then it was. Thank God.
Ugh.
That would have been terrible.
I'm glad you reminded me of that.
Like, can you imagine having to explain that to somebody? Oh, I just watched Scream. And that's it. Yeah. I don't know how you even...
Scream...
Exclamation point. Terrible. Wow. That must have been a troll. I don't know.
It had to have been. Well, I don't know. I've never seen the title page of like the original draft of like Scream 6, like on,
Yeah.
I have the original draft of Scream 5.
Oh.
Which says untitled, but then when you're reading the script, when you get to the after Tara's like stabbed, and it says like, now we hit our title card, it was called Scream Forever. That was the original title that they had in there. Not, hey, I'm just the messenger. I'm just telling you.
It's not my favorite, but I like that piece of information.
Yeah, Scream Forever.
Oof. Okay.
All right, let's start with your list. Let's see what you got.
Well, this is a movie that I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that was awesome. And then it's one of the ones that kind of was like, oh no, now I'm nitpicking. But so anyway, right off the bat, I don't know if I love the Billy stuff.
Okay.
I like the idea, and I think honestly, I don't know. At first I was like, oh, this feels very fan fiction, for him to have a secret daughter. And it does a little bit. But I think, I don't know, him being I think they did it better in 6, right? Because he's in it for like one scene, and he's in a reflection. but he's not like in a straight up mirror. Whereas in 5, if I remember correctly, his first scene, he's in the hospital mirror, and it's like, whoa.
Which was jarring. Yeah. I will say, I was like,
jarring.
I remember turning and going, what the heck is happening right now? I was like, what is going on right now?
Oh my gosh. And he also just, he looks like Skeet Ulrich, like present day.
Yeah.
If they de-aged him, it really, like, it just did not look like Billy. It looked like Skeet.
Did. Yeah. And yeah, you would think that the de-aging skills, I mean, not we know that, you know, the technology is much better than what we got. And I get it if they didn't want to spend that much money on, but you know what? He's not in the movie that much. It's Scream. You guys had a massive freaking budget for a horror movie. At the very least, dude, you should have been like, we got to make sure that this looks right.
Yeah. What I don't get is like, you've got people on the internet, right? Just random people doing deep fakes that look 100 times better. And I'm just like, how? I would love to know the behind the scenes of like, why is that?
You mean like how, you know, we get like a poster for a movie and then somebody comes along and they're like, look, I made this in 5 minutes and it's way better than like what the studio put out. And it's like, what are they like? Do they not? How does this work? Why does it work this way?
Yeah. So a recent example was, I don't know if you watched Stranger Things, but Stranger Things season 5, they have that opening scene of Will Byers, and he is meant to be himself from season 1. And I have seen side-by-side comparisons of the show and somebody's deep fake, and the deep fake is a million times better. And I just have to wonder.
This is someone who did it for free in their own spare time.
Did it for free at home. And it just really makes me wonder. It's like, how and why? But anyway, I'm getting way off track here. But that just
no, it matches what we're talking about, though.
It's weird, right? Anyway, overall, I think the Billy idea is it's cool. Execution's slightly awkward, but I love Sam as a character, and I think her background and her genetic makeup makes it her a really cool character. So I'll forgive that a little bit. But
so before you move on, let me ask you: is it just because it was another retcon, kind of that you had an issue with it, or
it's not even that, because it's like him as a character, he was a bad dude. Like, hey, you can kind of see,
right?
I could see him like cheating on Sydney. Like that's realistic, but it's just just in general, it feels very fan fiction to me. It feels like something that like somebody on the internet would have said, okay, here's the next Scream movie, and oh, there's a secret daughter that we didn't know about, and she's got her dad's like serial killer into it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just they make it work, but it's the idea itself is kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
we didn't have to tie it in that much to the first movie.
Right. And again, it, you know, before the movie was released, obviously there was all these theories about, luckily they were able to keep the Billy coming back a surprise somehow. But there were all these rumors like, are we going to go back to like the original and learn something that we truly didn't know before? Not like Scream 3. It kind of felt like they were leading that direction, but didn't follow through with it again. There were moments in this movie where it really felt like we're going to learn something major about the first movie that we didn't know. And then, when the movie was over, looking back, it was like, I mean, Billy had a daughter. Like, okay. Like, it was just kind of like, and I don't know what I expected or what I wanted. It was just kind of like, okay, yeah, all right, I can see that. I accept it, but all right.
I think, like, bottom line, it was just super unnecessary. Like, you still could have had this same type of cool character who struggles with certain things and has things to overcome, but you didn't need to like blatantly be like, she's the kid, it's the secret baby of the guy from the first movie. Like, it's just, yeah, but
yeah,
whatever. It is what it is. All right, my next one. Let's see. Oh. Okay, Dewey.
okay,
Love him in this movie.
me too.
I really, forever and always, I'm gonna wish that they killed Gale instead.
I agree with you 100%, and you
Okay.
might be the first person other than myself that I've seen say that.
Oh no, I've for sure lifted. Like, I've heard a lot of people say that, which I agree with them. So I can't take credit for the idea here, but I think it's just like Gail has, and we've seen it like ever since 4. I would say she's kind of just flatlined as a character.
Yeah,
Could be
they
the writing,
definitely
but it's
are
just kind
finding
of,
ways to shoehorn her into the story
yep,
every time.
yeah. And oh man, I just love Dewey so much. And like his scene with Sydney in 4 is like so
Yeah,
heartwarming. And he's just like,
yeah,
he'd always be there for her. Whereas Gail's kind of like yeah, we have this bond, but we still like wouldn't really consider ourselves friends.
right.
And there's just not much to do with her anymore. Whereas Dewey, like, I don't know. I guess you could argue the same with him, but
Well, they really, which is one of the things that bothers me about what I see some other people say about Dewey in this movie is there's a lot of people that are like seriously, you guys turned Dewey into like a drunk, and it's just like, do you like what they made him human? Like they made him like a somebody that has been through hell and back, and he misses like his life and his family, his wife. Like he's broken down. He's probably in pain all the time from all the times he's been
yeah.
stabbed and attacked. Like you're shocked by this? You think it's out of character? I thought it was like really interesting choice that they did, and I thought it was more realistic, and I thought it worked for him. you know
I thought it worked perfectly because can you imagine if he was like his Scream 3 era Dewey in this? Like,
right,
no.
right.
I thought it was great progression and it made it interesting. Like, yeah. And it's like, yeah, Gail would go to New York. She would leave. Like,
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
she was already unhappy in 4. So it's like, it felt
right.
natural. But yeah. And I just, his literal death itself, like, aside from the fact that I didn't want him to go,
Mhm.
he just does something like the phone ringing conveniently and he
Mhm.
looks down at the phone and then he gets, I don't like
Well,
that.
and just the fact that they're and at the end of the day, they're smarter than he was in that scene because they're literally like, Dewey, we need to get the out of here. And who cares about like shooting him in the head? And he's like, I do. And it's like, dude, you should know by now. Don't go back. Like, just
Shoot
don't go
from
back.
the
Yeah,
elevator
or just leave. Just leave.
or just
You know
leave.
what?
Yep.
Yeah, keep yourself alive.
Or unload like 6 more rounds into the person
Yeah,
while they're
as
sitting
you're
there.
walking, just start
Yeah.
shooting from a. That's what I would do.
So that scene is just it's not good. But
It's good in the sense that you do feel the impact of losing that character. Um, for sure.
true.
It's good in that sense. I do like the final shot of that scene of Ghostface standing over the body, holding a knife in each hand with the costume open, showing the bulletproof vest. I think that's a really cool shot. But I agree with you.
Well, and like the kill itself is crazy. Like, it's tough. It's brutal.
Yeah,
The way he
yeah.
dies. It's just for me, it's just like it's eye rolling, like we already said, like, no, I have to go back. And it's
Mhm.
like, dude. And then the convenient phone ringing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 biggest issues.
So overall, though, you love this movie. You like it. You love it. What's your thoughts on
I
it?
like it a lot. It's like near my bottom of my rankings though. But I do still like it. But yeah, it's
I think it
I
was
only
way better than it had any right to be under
I
the
think so too,
circumstances
yeah.
of, like, you know, Wes is gone. There's a whole new, and I'm not saying anything bad about Radio Silence. I'm just saying, you know, Wes is gone, so we have a whole new creative team. All this time has passed. There was just COVID. It was shot during when everything else was shut down. It was shot with all these COVID protocols. It was one of the only movies that was filming during like the shutdown where they came up with certain protocols that allowed them to do. So I felt like there was all this stuff going against it, you know.
True.
And I think, like, looking back, it's like, man, like, most of what I was worried about at the time, I didn't need to be worried about. Like, they didn't, you know, that stuff didn't happen. It just felt like it was so much better than it had any right to be.
You're right about that. Yeah. I do think they did a great job. And just like the way Ghostface looked and acted and the way he was shot. Yeah, it was just yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in this one. It's just, and yeah, like we said, these are all fun nitpicks, right?
My list is very similar to yours. The only thing different on mine, and again, I don't know if you qualify this as like a movie goof, so maybe it doesn't really count. But I think it's one of those things that's like, guys, how did you mess this up? You know, because I know these guys, like, I know Radio Silent, they are diehard fans. Like, Scream is the movie that made them want to be directors. Like, these guys are diehards. How did you mess up the fact that in this movie there are 8 stab movies? Okay. Stab 8 was the newest one. How many stab movies were in Scream 4? 7. So that means that there's only been one stab movie between the events of Scream 4 and Scream 5. So Stab 7 is the newest entry in the series. They made it a point in this movie to explain that the reason everybody hated Stab 8 is because it didn't have anything to do with, you know, the murders. It was just this crazy stupid movie, and Ryan Johnson directed it, and it was like a ghost face with a blowtorch and, you know, or a flamethrower and, you know, the metal mask. They made it a point to be like, Stab 8 had nothing to do with what happened in the events of Scream 4. However, also in this movie, when they're talking about certain precautions to take, when Mindy's having her little spiel, her little rundown at the Meeks house, Wes gets nervous and says, "Wait, you're saying past characters are in trouble? My mom's a character in one of them." And it's
yeah,
like,
which one?
wait a second, but which one was she a character in? It would have had to have been 8, but wait, 8 had nothing to do. It just was one of those things where it's like, you guys didn't research it enough, and this could, you know, possibly go back to what you and I were talking about, where it's like, when you rely so heavily on the whole meta movie within a movie within a movie within a movie thing, it's easy to get confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accidents happen. But it is a bummer because then you're like, yeah. Oh, well. I only had one other. I don't know if you had any more you want to. Okay. So I love the killer reveals.
Me too.
But this is kind of like this. I don't know if it's the start of, but it was very. So Amber as a character is like very angry the whole movie. She's not humorous at all.
Right.
And then as soon as she gets revealed, she turns into like a really silly character.
Yeah.
And it just, I feel like this started something that now we can't like put back in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Which is when the mask comes off, like you turn into like a silly character. And it's like,
Yeah.
it worked for Stu because that was literally his personality throughout the
Mm-hmm.
whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
But like Billy didn't turn into like a goofball, you know?
Right.
So Loomis was a little weird, but like
But she wasn't like, you know, and neither was
Roman,
Mickey.
Mickey, yeah,
Roman
yeah.
was
Jill was
great.
mad as heck. She was not laughing at anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my last nitpick. I just don't like because it doesn't feel like Amber anymore. It's like, okay, so this is like if this is who you really are, a killer, like with this crazy personality, it's like, are you just living your whole life as not that person? Like it's just I don't like that. Because I feel like Richie has that a little bit, but he's much more toned down.
Yeah, Richie definitely. I think Jack Quaid was better in that. I mean, Mikey Madison's amazing in the movie. She's amazing.
Oh, she is, yeah.
Period. But I think he works better in the whole like his change works better for him being a killer in the sense that he kind of goes from like this shy goofy guy and I'm just here for you, Sam, and then he does make a change at the end that's he doesn't completely lose the shy goofy guy, but he definitely takes on more of like a no, I'm deeply disturbed. You get the sense of like, oh, this guy's like deeply disturbed,
right?
Versus Amber, who is like, I'm funny now. Like you said.
And it's like way over the top. It's like,
yeah. And I've never heard anybody point out either when you said that you felt like this started something that is not able to go away. You're right. You're absolutely right.
and I don't know if that's just like because again, I'm trying to be fair, but when I think back to the other movies, like nobody really had a crazy tonal shift in personality until this movie, I want to say. Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah.
Do you have anything else for 5? Because that was all I had.
No, that was all I had for 5 as well.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're arriving at I believe it's your favorite in the franchise as well as your favorite reveal in the franchise.
That's right.
Scream I will 6, say, everybody.
Dude, I will say this is probably my favorite one to oh, sorry, Aaron in the chat. He said, "Yeah, Mickey got a little weird. He did get a little silly. Yeah, he did the whole Billy's mother and the neck thing, but he was like weird the whole movie. I don't know.
Have you seen his not review? Have you seen his interview like recently where somebody asked him, Timothy Olyphant, about like working on that movie?
No.
And he said that he said that he was doing a rehearsal for the finale for the the reveal scene in his acting, and he said it was Wes was busy doing his own thing, like the director's off doing their thing, they're setting up shots, and he's like, I was there with Nev and everybody, and Courtney and everybody, we were rehearsing our lines, and he's like, we were trying to do it like in character, we weren't just trying to read the script, and he's like, we were doing it, and he's like, I was just like doing my thing, and he's like about halfway through it, or no, I'm sorry, he's like, when we finished, he's like, Wes came over and he's like, okay, are we ready to like roll, like do like a first take? And they're like, yes. And Wes goes, whatever you were doing during your rehearsal, don't do that. It's like, it was too much, it was too crazy, dial it back. He's like, I'm sorry, it was just way too much. So he said he's always been like mortified, like he's like, I still feel like my performance in that was like, oh, it was too much. I think Wes was being nice to me, but
oh, that's so funny. I gotta look that up.
Yeah. He was like, I don't know what you were doing over there, but just don't do that.
Just don't do that. I thought you were gonna say do that because
no, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh man.
All right. This one's like probably my favorite to talk about because it's so much fun.
Oh, okay. Well,
Um,
what would be
okay.
the first thing on your list? Let's start there.
Okay, I'm gonna try to start like in order here,
Oh
but
boy.
and actually, well, so to be fair, I only have like 4 or 5 things on my list.
Yeah,
Um, but
but they're
okay,
big things.
some of them. Well,
Yeah.
so okay, so my first thing is I love the opening. It's so cool. I just wish they had gone a little further with it because it's so cool and like I'll never forget being in the theater and like he says Jason kills Samara Weaving and he says like the line like now I see something red and he does the big slash and you're just sitting there and you're like where's the title card? And it's like
Exactly.
really
Yep.
awkward and you're like
Yep.
what's happening? And then he pulls off the mask and everybody was like, oh my God, like, oh my God, oh my God. And it was so cool. That was awesome. That was so
Yeah.
fresh. But then I just wish they had done more with that because as soon as he gets killed off, it's kind of like you hear about him again, but it's like, well, what was the point of that? Like, I don't know. Do you feel that way?
I do. I remember seeing their interviews where they were kind of explaining how they came to that decision, and they were like, when we were writing 6, because it was Guy and James for that
Mm-hmm.
one as well. It was 2 of them. They were like, "Here's what we're gonna do. Just start." They're like, "Let's sit down and write ideas for like what we'd want to see in this next movie, and then we'll compare notes." And they were like, we went back to each other, and the first thing that we had both written, our first note separately, we had both written the same thing as number 1 was have an unmasking in the opening scene. Like,
Okay.
they weren't really sure how they were going to do it, but they were just like, wouldn't that be like freaking insane?
Mm-hmm. It
um
was
it was.
so cool.
And to your point, if you another case of if you have a chance to check out the script, the shooting script for 6, it is actually written that way. It is written that Ghostface says that line, now I see something red, he slashes towards the screen, blood splatters on his mask, and then it's like, and it's time for our title card. And then it's like dot 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 dot, and then it's like only the title card doesn't come, and it's like this happens. We linger on Ghostface, and he kneels down, leaving the audience being like, "What's going on?" And it's like, dude, that's totally what happened. Like,
That's so cool. And hey, it's fresh. It works really well. It's just like, yeah, once they get killed off, you're like, okay, okay. And it's kind of cool because, Jason's saying all this horrible stuff about, Samara Weaving and how it felt to, get rid of
yeah,
her and all that. And then you're like, oh, this guy sucks, obviously. um,
yeah,
but then when he gets aced out himself, you're like, whoa, like who's this? Like, and again, like I really wanted a vigilante ghost face. So I was like, oh, this is sick. Like this guy's
yeah. This
taking
is
out like other
really cool.
killers.
Yeah,
It didn't go that way really, but
it did not. You're right.
that's
It
what I
did
wanted to
not.
happen. Um my next one is my next one is stupid, but once you hear it, you can't like unhear it. And it
Okay.
happens twice in this movie, maybe more, but I remember twice specifically.
Lay it
When
on me.
It's so stupid, but I hate it. When somebody's about to shoot Ghostface,
Hmm.
they yell, "Hey," and they wait a moment and then they shoot, but it gives Ghostface enough time to, dodge. So the bodega, the shop owner, he pulls out the gun and Ghostface is over there and he's like, "Hey." And then Ghostface, does
Yeah.
ducks and then he shoots the gun. And I'm like, "You idiot." And then they do it again.
I never noticed it.
They do it
Oh my
again
god. This is why we
when
have these
Gail's about to
discussions.
die and Sam runs in, Sam and Tara, I think. And Sam's like, "Hey." And then she shoots the gun and I'm like, "There's no way they just did that again." And yeah. And now you're not going to be able to unsee that cuz
Oh
it's
my
like
god.
why I know why they did it for convenience, but it's like, come on.
Right. Like what? what is I've never listen, I know you're telling the truth because I'm replaying these scenes in my head and I'm going, you're right. You're absolutely right. They do that. They 100% do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Is anybody else having the stream cut out on them? One person has said this so far. I'm not calling you out, Reaper, like you don't know what you're talking about. I'm just curious because I haven't seen anybody else say it.
Yeah, sorry if it is.
Yeah. Everything's good on my end and your end that I can see. So yeah, just put something in the comments if you are experiencing that. But moving along, I agree with you on that. What else do you have for 6?
Chad not dying after his amazing death scene. It was like the most iconic, like, oh my God, it was such a cool death scene. And in the moment, I was like, no, like, no, I didn't want him to die because he and Tara, you know, they have their moment finally. And I love Chad, but yet they stabbed him so many times and in all the vital spots. And then at the end, to have the audacity to roll him out. And then Tara pulls off his oxygen mask to kiss him. And I'm just like, that's too much.
Can I just say that possibly my favorite thing that you've ever said to me in your life so far has been Chad not dying after his amazing death scene.
It's accurate.
It's so accurate. That's why it's amazing. Oh my God.
To be fair, I have heard of people surviving like 40 stab wounds in real life. I do remember a story of a woman who said she survived 40 stab wounds.
Yes.
However,
and much like the story I told about 4, the writers and directors have said that they based that on a real story that they saw, and they were inspired by the whole thing with Wes being inspired by the 4, like the stab in the head. That somebody was stabbed like 42 times and survived. So they were like, let's do it. And, you know, they've also gone on record and said, listen, if you had a problem with Chad surviving that many stabs, you should have seen the first cut before we dialed it back. Because even we were like, we can't do, they wanted to do like all 42 stabs, like in this article that they read. And they watched it and they were like, no, we gotta dial it back. We have to dial it back to like 10 or something. I don't know.
Can you imagine sitting there while he gets stabbed 42 times and then they have the audacity to roll him out? And again, like, yes, it could happen, but this is a movie where we've seen people die from one stab wound. Like, it's just, yeah.
Now, let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
What, and I'm not saying I disagree with you. I agree with you 100%. But what to you in your mind is different about Chad's death scene, as you so brilliantly called it in 6, compared to Stewie? Did I just say Stewie? Dewey's stab scene in Scream 2 when he stabbed many, many, many times in the back, presumably left for dead, and then is just like, oh hey, I'm still alive. Like, do you see a difference? And if so, what is it? Just out of curiosity.
I don't love that either. I think the difference, though, is that's the first time it happened. And it's like,
yes,
okay, like that's ridiculous, but you love this character and like it's the first time it happens. When you see it happen like 4 movies later, and it's like, I don't know, I'm struggling to defend it, but do you know what I mean? Like it can happen once, but lightning can't strike twice. Like it's just it was too on the nose. It was too much. They had like blood coming out of his mouth, like, and I know I think Dewey had that too, but it's just
it's kind of one of those things again where it's like, you know what, I can look at it and say, hey, if they're just trying to have fun and be like, hey, Chad is our Dewey, you know, like for Wes, it was Dewey. Like, you know, they were going to kill him in the first one. And then at the last minute, they're like, you know what? Let's make him alive. And then they kind of did that again in the second one. Like, let's have fun like that. I get it. And that's fine. But like you said, there's just something about Chad's attacks in 5 and 6 that seemed way less survivable
Yeah.
than what Dewey went through.
Well, and you also have a movie in 6 where like nobody dies, you know?
Yeah.
You've got the deaths of guy 1 and guy 2 in the bodega. We've got
Yeah.
Annika, Samara Weaving, but it's like Gail's boyfriend, but it's like I think it was already at a point
It's
where
a
it's
lot
like,
of random
okay,
people.
yeah, and it's like all of our main characters are getting these crazy wounds. In that third act, like Tara gets stabbed like in the back and the stomach, and then
Oh,
she's
yeah.
walking around outside like nothing happened. And they do the
Yeah.
same thing with Mindy, and it's just like when you stack all of those things, it's like then the Chad scene just seems like extra like indulgent. It's like, dude,
Mhm.
it's too much.
For sure. For sure.
So yeah, that's I've only got one other thing because it kind
Oh,
of
I think I
covers
know what it
the
is.
whole end of the movie here.
I was just gonna say, is it the whole end of the movie,
It's
basically?
the whole end of the movie, man, because it's like, and I've said this so many times, but it's like this movie was like a 9 out of 10 for me.
Mhm.
And then I get to the reveal and I like instantly wanted to like get up and leave like out of the theater. I was just like, no, 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 this is so bad. This what
Now,
happened?
before you continue, let me stop you
Yeah.
there for a moment.
Yeah.
Were you ready to get up and walk out of the theater immediately because of who the killers were, or was
No,
it the as it went on and it was like, wait, why are they acting this way? Why is this person
it's
uh
that. And
yeah.
I would never have gotten up and left. I was just
Right.
saying, like, I
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, for
sank into
sure.
my seat. I was
Yeah,
like,
it was
no, 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 no,
embarrassing.
no.
It was
This was so
embarrassing.
good. What happened? And I don't have a problem with who the killers are. I wanted Detective Bailey to be the killer, and
Mhm.
the fake out death was cool. His son, yeah, whatever. But it was cool. We got 3 killers, right? But it was just the instant. It was just Dermot Mulroney. Like I like him a lot. I've seen him in other things. He's a great actor, and it's just like this is now this is the behind the scenes thing that I need to see because did
Mhm.
he choose to act that way or did they direct him to act that way? That's what I need to know. I don't know
Well,
if you know the answer to that.
I don't have like a great story like I had for the other ones, but I can tell you that if memory serves me correctly, if you watch the audio commentary of 6, when they get to the end, both directors are audibly kind of cringing at certain moments and saying, "Man, we really should have had him dial it back a little bit."
Oh
Like, not
no.
they weren't like saying like, "Oh god, like he's terrible," but they were like, you know, "Man, we really should have had him dial it back. Like he really went like all out and we did multiple takes, but you know, we had him try it all sorts of ways, but it was just crazy, 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 getting crazier." And so I don't it sounds like it's not something that they directed him to do. Sounds like it's something he just did. Um
Oh.
and I don't know if they were like afraid to be like, dude, don't like dial it back or something. I don't think they would be because he's not that type of person, as I understand. Like, he wouldn't be offended by that. But it could have something to do with the fact that they also said, you know, Dermot was the first one to be told, like, you're one of the killers. Everybody else was told, like, well into production. But he's like, we had to tell him ahead of time because we really wanted him in this movie. And we knew if we gave him half the script and was like, this is it, dude, this is what we want, he'd be like, that's all you want me for. So they're like, we did give him half the script, but we said, just you're one of the killers, like that's why there's not that many scenes, you're gonna have your moment at the end, you know. So they
Hmm.
kind of had to tell him that, but yeah, I don't know, it's too much.
It didn't work. If he had played it completely straight, I feel like I would have loved it.
Which he could have done.
He could
Like
have
you
done it,
said,
yeah.
you watch him in other movies, and it's like, dude, he could have been terrifying as that killer.
And again, with the switch up, like he has some weird lines, like,
Yeah.
you mess with my family, you die. That's kind of weird. But if you think of like him, like canonically in the costume, like when he's shooting up the bodega, like people are pissing him off. He's got like that look, like he's not like, nothing seems funny. When
Yep.
he kills Jason, it's not funny. He's like, he hates this kid.
Yeah.
So that's another famous like personality switch up there for me.
Right.
It's just.
Do you think that's the worst of the series as far as what you pointed out earlier with like somebody that's just kind of like, it's just like a straight up like person, like kind of weird, kind of off, and then when they're the killer, they're like, oh, like
Yeah. I think it's the worst one. And honestly, like this is the one where it like I actually realized like, oh, something's wrong here. Because like when I watched 5, like I didn't even think about Amber's switch up. But then I saw this and then I retroactively was like, oh, oh no, there's a pattern. That being said though, like Quinn was great. She played it pretty straight.
Yeah.
She wasn't laughing. Ethan,
Yep.
but yeah, man. It's just, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that is something you kind of have to suspend. You have to just kind of see Ghostface as like its own character entity. But like for me, I like to picture the people under it. But
oh, for sure, yeah, I absolutely do that.
It's yeah. So for me, it's the reveal. It's the amount of times people get what should be, wounds that put you down, but you're fine. You're walking around. You're having a chat afterwards, like you didn't just get stabbed in the back and the stomach. So.
Yeah, 2 was really, or not 2, 6 was really like everybody in this movie gets stabbed. Like that's what it felt like. It was like everybody's going to have a major traumatic injury of some sort. I mean, look at Gail. Like she should have been dead from that.
Oh yeah,
like, for sure. And I thought she was watching it the first time. I thought she was, and I was a little bit like, oh, they're killing Gail, okay, but I was okay with it. I was like, I mean, if this is it for whatever. And then when it wasn't, it kind of felt like, then what was the point of doing it that intense? Like, why did you have it that giant shard of glass that basically like freaking guts her? You're gonna go that far, but then be like, just kidding, she's alive.
Fine.
Just kidding, she'll be fine.
Yeah, it's hate to bring it back to Stranger Things, but it's feeling like they're afraid to kill anybody. So, and who knows, like maybe in 7, I think I heard this somewhere, in 7 they were planning to kill a lot of people. So that kind of would have solved it, but unfortunately we didn't get that. So we're just left with our memories of this.
So is that all you have for 6?
That's it. I felt like that last one was really big. So
yeah,
that's
and
it.
that was my list as well. The only thing that I added that was, I guess it's not really addition because you said like the whole ending, which I'm in agreement with, but I think even bigger gripe with the ending is the motive and when you realize what they're trying to have us believe, which is that this is Richie's family and Richie's father. It's not just Richie's dad, he's also a cop. Yeah. And it's like, now hang on a second. How does nobody know that this is Richie's dad? This serial killer that is now famous from what they did, just like a year ago or whatever. Like, how does nobody know that, like, hey, this is that Richie's dad? And just, by the way, that's one of the first freaking things that would happen on the news. They'd be like, oh, we just found out that, this, so like, all this stuff that happens in the world that's horrible, like, mass killings and stuff. Like if one of those happened and they found out that like the father was like a cop, that'd be the first thing all over the news. They'd be like, the dad's a cop.
Yeah.
Dad's a cop, and here he is. Here's a picture of him. And like, how does nobody know that?
Gail would have been all over that. Like,
Yep.
I was like, okay, well, Sam dated him for who knows how long. He probably lied about his family. She wouldn't have been introduced to him. But then it's like, so I'm assuming Richie was the one who lied about his name. So the
Right.
Bailey, I guess, was his real last name, right?
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
Sure, yeah. Well, that gets around the whole
well
how would he be a cop with a fake name? Like, he wouldn't. So that
Right.
gets around that. However, like you just said, like there's no way, there's no chance that like he wouldn't be, like he said, like all over the news, reported on. Here's his dad, his brother, and his sister, by the way. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a huge issue. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I think it goes back to, some of the interviews I've seen where they said, well, originally the original script that we were actually shooting, they were not Richie's family. They were like, when we wrote the original script and what we were actually shooting was they were a family, but they weren't Richie's family. They were just a family of like nut jobs that were like, like QAnon obsessed crazy people that believed every conspiracy theory they read online. And they happened to read this, conspiracy theory that Sam was actually responsible for the murders. And they were like, we decided like last minute that we wanted it to kind of echo the motive of Scream 2 last minute. So we changed it to that they're Richie's family. And I think that was a mistake because number one, we've seen that before. And number two, I think that's much more realistic and scary.
Yeah.
To have it be like, oh, we have no connection to you whatsoever. We just read about it online and we believe it. Like we're just, you know what I mean?
And then I could have gotten what I wanted with a vigilante killer, because while they're not doing the right thing, they may think they're doing the right thing. Like, hey, we need to avenge this kid who got unfairly murdered, you know? So, man. Yeah, never second guess yourself, because they didn't have time to think through all the massive plot holes this would cause.
Right, because there would have been the issues we just talked about with how did nobody know that was Richie's dad, and how did nobody know that this and the brother, like it wouldn't have mattered. None of that would have been a problem if they would have stuck with. So it sounds like they changed them from being a random family to Richie's family, but didn't do the work to go back and be like, well, wait a second. How are we going to explain that nobody knows Richie's dad was a cop? Like, how do we explain this?
And then you can take it even further and be like, hey, maybe the goofy attitude would make sense because we don't know these people. Their son wasn't just killed by Sam, like as is, like Detective Bailey has no reason to be laughing.
Yeah.
I get it. Maybe he's just crazy. He is, but it's like, yeah. Oh boy. Well, that sucks. I could have fixed a lot.
There seems to be a lot of what ifs in this discussion.
Yeah.
Some of these later movies.
Yeah.
All right, is that it for 6 for you?
That's it. Yeah.
That's it for me. And we don't need to really harp too much on this because we've I feel like you and I have both discussed it to death. But let's just see what's on the list, and we'll briefly go over it. Because again, with this being so fresh and new, we both have made our opinions clear many times. But for the sake of the video, let's talk about it.
And we did just see the deleted scenes, so
yes, we did.
There's one thing in there. There's one extra Jessica scene where it's like, okay, we should have had that. Like, we just needed a little more with her. So that
I was hoping there was going to be a deleted scene with Marco as well. Like, just give us just a little bit more of him. I have no problem with the characters at all. It's just like, dude, Marco, you're in the movie for like 2 minutes and then you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got just like 3,
Yeah.
like you said, we just harped on this, but it's
Yeah,
like,
we've talked it to death. So, but let's get the main things out.
okay. Yeah, so the killers needing more screen time
Yeah.
was a big one.
Yep.
Like this was another one where like Marco pulls off, which by the way, his name is Marco question mark. Like I know that after the fact, but like, watching the movie, if you had put a gun to my head and said, "What's this guy's name?" No idea.
You would have been like Ethan Embry.
Yeah, no idea. When he pulled off the mask and Sydney was like, what did she say? She says you, and he was
Yeah,
like, I forget what
you.
he says, yeah, me, or something like that.
Yeah.
I have no idea who this guy is. And then I was like, oh, duh, it's Ethan Embry. It's like he was in the hospital, but it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, that was his only scene, so it was very obvious, right? Yeah. The TV scenes were really bad.
Yeah.
Like there's just those are just like those should have been a deleted scene. I'm sorry. It's like again, and it's like, what were they even trying to do? Because it's like they're saying these lines to Sydney, and she's like, and like it's just, oh man. Oh, that's a good one. He
Yeah.
was barely in it. It's kind of, and it's kind of like in 3 with the voice changer. A lot of the lines went to that.
And that's, now that you mention it, we didn't talk about this when we were on part 2, when we were on Scream 2, but there's a big lack of that in Scream 2 as well, because there's only 2 phone calls, or
Oh my
3 phone
gosh.
calls in that movie.
Oh yeah.
There's very
So,
few like phone call, like there's no phone call in the opening scene.
oh yeah.
Which I get it. It was different. They were doing something different.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then they really they let him do a lot more in 4 and
Yeah.
5.
Yep.
Thank God. What else do I have? The yeah, me. Which is kind of like,
Yeah, me.
you know what? No, I'm glad you said that, Aaron, because that's a good point. Because that is when these killers are revealed and their little lines. So yeah, me is very similar to Wayne Bailey's. Of course, it was me, and he does the little
Yeah.
giggle. And then Jessica, she says, what does she say? She says like, "Hi neighbor," something like that.
Yeah.
And
How are you holding up?
yeah, and Quinn in 6 says, "Hi roomie," or something like that. And it's like it's a little recycled feeling.
Yeah,
But
and more so on the Marco line. They made such a big deal in the first half of the movie about like the fact that Carl, like everybody was like, who the heck is this? Like, that's really weird. It's always someone like, what do you mean you don't know this person? This is so weird. They made such a thing about that for the rest of the movie. I think it would have been more fitting and actually funnier if, when Marco pulled his mask off, if Sydney was like, who the hell are you? Like, and he was like, what do you mean? Don't you remember me? I was at, and if she would have been like, no, like I have no idea. Like, I think that would have been so hilarious to kind of drive that home.
realistically, like think about it. If you had seen this guy once in a hospital, your mind's already like going in all directions because you've got so much going on in your life. Like you probably wouldn't remember this guy, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my only other thing here is like, again, it's kind of a big one because it's like the whole motive was fine to an extent. They took it a little too far, like they took it way too far with the New York thing. I didn't like that. Which, by the way, we get like 6 mentions of New York in this movie, and it's just like, okay.
But nobody mentions Sam or Tara.
Yeah, it's weird.
Which is so weird because it's like, really, like nobody in this movie would have mentioned like, where's Sam and Tara?
Yeah.
How's Sam and Tara doing? Like,
it's weird. And it's like it's like, oh man, Sydney, like you should have been in 6. And then it's like, no, it's a good thing you weren't in 6. And then it's like, oh, the killer's motive is because you weren't in 6. And it's just like,
Yeah.
whoa, like this is a lot of whiplash.
Yeah, and then when you hear about, you know, oh, Kevin and you know, Anna Camp, they created this whole backstory on set of like, you know what, you were there, you were in Scream 4, you were at the book signing, and it's like, that's freaking great. She should have said that in the finale.
She should have said
She
that.
should have held up a book showing like, you signed this for me, and you know what I mean? That would have been awesome.
Holds up the book, like flips it open to the
Yeah.
signature, like yeah, that would have been so yeah.
You
That's
did
too
all
bad.
this AI stuff with dead killers. You could have done a quick flashback scene that showed a younger, you know, de-aged Anna Camp, like they're getting her book signed by Sydney.
Put some
Like,
bangs on Sydney and have her sitting there signing the book. Like, yeah, it would have been just enough to where it's not just all like nebulous, like, okay.
Yeah, it would have been, I would have saw it. I feel like we should all be looking at 7 as kind of like a very much connected to 4, but I don't feel that way, and I feel like I should.
Exactly.
Considering the motive, I feel like I really should be like, man, this is almost like a sequel to 4 in the sense that it's so connected. But
yeah, I mean, it feels like it was meant to be. It just didn't pull it off. And then it's just so frustrating because it's like, yeah, we beat this to death last time, but it's like, why was Stu's house burned down? Why was Stu used for AI? And it's just like,
well, it was just
we
his
know
idea. Like,
yeah, it's just my final thing is just the final fight is kind of boring to me. I really wish it had like either moved to a secondary location or just something. That final fight, like in the garage, is just
I
kind
see
of like,
that. I can see that. I mean, it was fun to watch Sydney versus Anna Camp. Like that was a blast, but I agree. I think it could have went on longer. It could have changed locations. It could have been a little bit better. Yeah, I think they could have made a lot of better choices in the ending. Here's one that, if I remember, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it's like, I'm contradicting myself because it's kind of nice that it was like intimate in her backyard. But at the same time, it just like, it needed to be better then. I don't know.
Yeah, it felt too contained. It felt like you have this fairly large, gorgeous backyard. You have this garage. You have that's under construction and all this stuff. You have this entire house. You have a front yard. You have all these places that this could have like carried over to. I'm not saying like, don't start it in the garage with all that cool construction sheeting and, stuff that makes it kind of creepy. Like you don't know where somebody is, but like, dude, carry that shit into the house. Like, let's see some action in there. Let's see them throwing stuff at each other and grabbing pictures off the wall and you know what I mean? Like,
or even outside, like down the street, because we saw Tatum running for like, and Sydney running for like miles and nobody was around. You could have gone outside and nobody would have bothered you.
Curfew. There was a curfew.
Yeah. So
now that Anna Sweetberry said, I feel like you were the one that kind of explained this for me, if I remember correctly, when I brought it up to you. Because I think when I brought it up to you the first time, I was like, this made absolutely no sense. It didn't explain. And you said, I think I have a explanation for it.
Oh yeah. It kind of I just assumed that he went and got it from Jessica because she would be more likely to have it, but would Sydney give it to her? I don't know. But
he does go somewhere.
He leaves and comes back.
And then he comes back and it immediately is punching it in. So yeah.
He goes right for it. And we know that's him. They didn't switch because he's the one who gets shot. So
yep.
Yeah. he got it from her. She either stole it from Sydney or Sydney trusted her. Which, by the way, it's just like seeing the way she's acting in this movie. It's like, Sydney, come on. Like, this woman is weird. Like, I think it's one of the deleted scenes that we were just talking about, but Jessica says to Sydney something weird, like, did you know this was going to happen? Referring to, like, McKenna Grace being killed. And it's like, what? it was just, why would you? And Sydney was like, no. Like, it was just so, I get why they deleted it because it was so strange, but it's just like, I don't find this character very believable that Sydney would be like trusting of this person.
Right.
You know, she never comes across as genuine. So
in her, 3 scenes that she's in the movie.
In her 3 scenes, yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's end on this note. Since we brought it up, let's briefly talk about the deleted scenes. We both watched them. I'm not saying like I'm not quizzing you and saying you got to like remember all of them. I think there were 6 of them, 7 maybe. Overall, what were your thoughts? Were you like kind of like they're not even really my thoughts. My thoughts were they didn't even really feel like deleted scenes. It was just kind of like extra dialogue from existing scenes. Like we didn't get anything that was like brand new.
Yep, that's how I feel, which made me frustrated because I was like, I know that you guys have actual deleted scenes. Why won't you share them? Because there's no way that you filmed this movie and that's all you cut. Like, that's a joke.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and where's the stew scene?
Where's the stew scene, man?
Why would you not include that?
And why would they tell us if they weren't going to let us see it? Like, that is cruel.
Yeah.
You know?
It really overall, to sum it up to me, it felt like this, and it's not unique. I'm not saying it's unique to the Scream franchise or to this movie. It happens way too often, but it feels like it was, this release was rushed together. Like they rushed, like, okay, it's time for the 4K to come out or the digital release. Like, what do we got? We got this little 3-minute making of thing and this 7-minute thing, and let's throw some deleted scenes in there and call it a day. It's the only Scream movie that doesn't even have a commentary on it by anybody. All the other releases have it, and I was looking forward to that. I was like, I kind of would like to see one with Kevin. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah. It feels like he scooted on out of here and he's like, yep, I'm done. Bye.
Yeah, peace out. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. But and this is nothing against Kevin, but I've said this before that if you really look at his history, he has a history of that with things. It's very like, oh, I'm focused on my TV show now, Dawson's Creek. This is my baby. And then it's like 3 seasons in, he's like, peace out. I'm done. I want nothing to do with this now. Now I'm on the Vampire Diaries. And I'm not saying this is the correct order of things, but it's like, he was there for a couple seasons and then he peaced out and left. Created the following, peaced out after that. Almost every show that he is like, no, this is what I do now is this show. It's my focus. He ends up piecing out like after a couple seasons and it's like, yeah, I'm done with that. I'm over it. Or I had a bad experience. And, he pieced out after Scream 2. He said, I don't got time to do this. So peace out. Have fun. Do Scream 3 without me. He came back to 4, had a bad experience. Not his fault at all. Totally the Weinstein's fault. But he pieced out after that. Then he came back for 7 in a very large role of director. And immediately everybody's like, hey, great. Like, hopefully the movie's amazing and he sticks around. Maybe he can direct the next 1 or 2. And then he immediately was like, I'm not directing the next one. That'll never happen. Also, I'm not going to write it. Also, I think it needs to get away from Sydney. And I think it needs to focus on Chad and Mindy. Peace out. And it was like,
I was like, what are you talking about? You said you were planning Scream 8 with Nev on set. What happened to that? And like, I guess it's our fault for clinging to him like a life preserver once he came back. But it's like, Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that to us. Because now we're starting over again.
Yeah. So now, does it? And real briefly, we'll touch on that. So there's a new writing team that is attached currently to 8. Um, I'm not super familiar with their past work. I believe I've seen a couple of things that they've done. Obviously, it didn't leave like a crazy lasting impression on me because I don't remember any of it. That's not to say that it's not good. Um, what are your thoughts on basically the state of Scream 8 right now? And do you kind of get nervous every time the series seems to change complete creative teams? It's kind of feels like, to me, I'm always like, oh god, don't mess this up, please.
So yeah, I'm really worried because it feels like it felt like we had a plan. Like it felt like Scream 7 and 8 were gonna be like a part 1, part 2, and maybe like that's just delusional speculation on my part. I don't know, but like I guess number 1, I was convinced that we were gonna get a cliffhanger ending and then we would have like a part 1, part 2 type of thing. Or just something to lead into the next movie, a connection. And I was like, oh, of course Kevin's going to be back. And we all just like assumed, oh, he'll probably be writing the next movie, right? Maybe he'll be directing, or maybe they get a new director. But now it's like, now we have nothing. We have no Kevin. Yeah. We have new writers. We have no idea who's going to be in it. Like, I have a feeling like Neve Campbell might be like, nah, I'm out. Like, I'm good. And who can blame her? So it's like we had these characters that were just like Tatum, Mark, that I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to seeing these people again now because they really impressed me. And now it's like,
right,
I don't know what we're gonna get. And now
and could they do? That's a great question too. Is could they do a Scream 8 that follows Tatum without Sydney being involved in any way, shape, or form? Like, and by that I don't mean not mentioning her like she doesn't exist. Of course, if you're following Sydney's daughter, she's going to be mentioned and have like a, at least some sort of presence. But could you continue, if the goal was to kind of be like, you know what, give Sydney her happy ending, let her live her life in peace finally. We don't want to see her go through this all the time. We don't want to see her killed off, that's for sure. We're never going to do that. Nev already said she wouldn't do one where she gets killed. So let's, give her peace and let's move on to other characters and stories. And you know what we set up with 7? Guess who's the next final girl? Sydney Prescott's daughter, Tatum. Okay, great. But can you do that without having Sydney be a part of it?
I would say good luck writing that in a believable way because, like,
right,
she's gonna try to, like, you're gonna have to do something stupid like put her on an island and then there's a storm and she can't get off the island. Like,
right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good luck with that, and it's just, and I hate to say it, but like at this point, I'm like, just start over, just do new characters because like I don't want other people touching these characters at this point.
Yeah, or go back. Get Radio Silence back and get Sam and Tara back. Get the
I'd love to see them again.
Yeah, do one more with them. Like
one more core 4.
Like, just do it. Why not? Why not? They're already established. It's not like, oh, what are we doing? Like with these new? No, just bring them back and do something with it. They obviously had a plan for a third one involving the core 4. I'm not saying that whatever they had planned would necessarily work right now, but like clearly they feel there was more story to tell. So get them back and do one more. Like, I think that's better than trying to figure out a way to do Tatum without having Sydney involved, or just having like some random people that have nothing to do with anything. And I think that's a much harder thing to tackle.
It is, and I would just say good luck to these new people because, well, and unfortunately, like Radio Silence, they're doing The Mummy, right? So they're doing
all sorts of stuff.
Busy.
Yeah.
I can't see them coming back, to be honest, like maybe in like a decade, but like I really don't see them. I feel like they're probably like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Same with Guy Busick. He literally said like, didn't he literally say like, I'm out of ideas, like I'm good.
Yep. Yep.
I'm done.
The hardest part, yeah, he said the hardest part is coming up with like a killer and a motive, and he's like, I'm all out of those.
Yep, he's fresh out. So it's like, okay, they're done. I really don't see Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega coming. Like, again, maybe in like 10 years, which is unfortunate, but I feel like the ship has sailed. Like, it sucks, but I think
especially
it has.
Melissa, I don't think she would ever come back unless it was not with Spyglass anymore. It would have to be with some other company.
Yeah, they totally burned that bridge with her. And I just like Jenna Ortega's pretty big now, so she's probably like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
So you're left with 2 out of 4 core 4 members.
Yeah.
Which honestly, like a Chad and Mindy movie could be fun.
Yeah.
But it's like there's no stakes with them because they've already both been like, I mean, Chad, like, you know, like if they kill Chad at this point, it's like, okay.
Yeah, then it'll almost feel like, well, why'd you have to go and do that? Come on, like,
yeah, at this point, just left him. Yep.
Yeah, you let him survive all these times. Like now we're mad that you killed him. What are you doing? You can't kill Chad. He's invincible.
So honestly, like, I feel like they're in a bad spot. I mean, they must have some direction because they're filming like, are they filming like this year or next year?
They said that, but who knows? It's hard to say what's going to happen if they're just now writing. I mean, clearly they're working on it. Is there any part of you that thinks that they should just kind of let it be for a while and revisit it? Like take a break, more of a break than what they have taken? Or do you think these movies work surprisingly well? You know, you had Scream 1, 2, and 3. It was like boom, boom, boom. They came out. Then there was a huge break. Then there was 4. And I know there was another huge break after that, but that wasn't the original plan. The original plan was 4, 5, and 6 back to back to back. And now we just got 5, 6, and 7 basically back to back to back.
I think the flow has been destroyed here because we were supposed to get a trilogy with Sam and Tara. That didn't happen. So now we've essentially got the start of a new trilogy with this movie, and it just feels like the flow is completely broken. And now we don't know what we're getting. So it's like, I don't know if maybe they should just, I could see them doing like an anthology, like movie every other year, you know, where it's like, okay, where it's like a season of the TV show where we've got new characters, we've got a new setting, nothing tying it to the other movies. I would be okay with that. But I feel like, I don't know, like it's so depressing, but it feels like everything's just like kind of like, ugh, now.
Well, I guess the thing that's unique again about the Scream franchise is that, like you said, because of these, they rely so heavily on the stab thing, the stab universe, the movie within the movie. Technically, in this world, Ghostface can be anywhere. Anybody can be inspired by the stab movies to do something horrible. You know, it doesn't even have to be in the United States, could be in another country. I'm honestly shocked at this point that they haven't even done something fun, like mentioned like, oh, by the way, like this, all sales of Ghostface masks have been banned in the United States. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like it's insane. It's insane that it's like, oh yeah, we'll just keep pumping this mask out that all these people
keep letting people do this, which is like they, you know, but I don't know, man. I just, at this point, it feels like we're getting a reset. I could be totally wrong, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I love the TV show, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I love the different mask.
What about season 3?
I need to watch it again. I've only seen it once. I remember being not super impressed with it.
Yeah.
It's cool that
all
they
I
got
remember about 3 was the first kill was cool, with like the bag over the guy's head in the car, and then they get stabbed with the bag over his head. That was cool. And I also remember everybody was just so excited. They're like, Ghostface, like they're gonna have the actual mask in it. And then I just remember it was like, that's all I remember. I just remember a couple things about it.
Roger Jackson came back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the Killers, but
yeah.
But
it
yeah,
just felt weird to have Ghostface and Roger Jackson and the whole shebang, but nothing to do with Woodsboro Scream. That no mention of it's completely different universe, obviously. It just kind of felt weird. It felt like, well, what are you doing? Like,
it is weird, but I think if they want this series to like survive past Sydney and all that, like they're gonna have to do that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tricky. You either gotta end it pretty soon or you gotta like evolve. And I think the TV show did a really good job with that. But
yeah, I like the TV show. I have no complaints about, especially the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like so compelling, and the kills were crazy. Like, I remember being like, "How is this allowed on MTV? This is crazy." Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they get away with stuff now on TV.
But yeah, man, I don't know. That's all I got.
All right. Well, final thought before we go. Thank you, everybody, by the way, for watching and paying attention. Final thought, and again, you and I talked about this before, but how would you feel about, or how do you feel about what I would like to see happen, which is Nev step into the director's chair for Scream 8?
Oh, I love that idea. When you mentioned that, I was like, oh, that's great. And didn't Kevin say that too? Like he could see that as a natural progression for her because she was doing so much with this movie.
Yeah, I think he said I would hope that she would be able to, get that opportunity at some point.
I think that would be great.
Wanted to be like, great, ask her. Like, you're a producer on these.
Can we do that?
Yeah, do the same thing she did to you. Be like, hey, do you want to Zoom? Do you want to direct this? I know there's more people that have to be okay with it and agree, but why not? Like, why not give her that?
It's just the dream team would be him coming back to write. So,
yes.
If he's not there, it's
written by Kevin Williamson, story by Kevin Williamson and Nev Campbell, directed by Nev Campbell. That would be amazing. I
don't know, but I would feel bad for her having to direct with 2 brand new writers who have never, touched the series before. And she'd probably be like, no, this is not how this character, you know what I mean? It'd be kind of tough, but
I agree 100%. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to us ramble for 2 hours about not necessarily what we don't like, but what we think doesn't work in the series. Thank you for spending your time with me again, Julie. You're always amazing.
Thank you for having me. This was very fun.
Absolutely. Always. I look forward to it. Where can people see you other than here occasionally?
The other night, well, he was here earlier in the chat. I was on Davey Death Ray's channel the other night, Sunday night. First time, but that was very cool. I don't have a channel for anybody in the chat, by the way. Maybe someday. I know people keep telling me that, but typically the most time you'll see me is on the Night Watch Zone. I'm a moderator over there, and I've been lucky enough to be able to appear on the panel a lot. So he's a good friend of mine. So that's kind of home base for me right now.
Yeah. Love Night Watch. If you guys haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. I'm going to put some links to some of these other channels in the video once it is up for viewing on YouTube. And all right, guys, until then, we will see you on the next one. Hopefully we'll have Julie back soon. And thanks for watching.
See ya.